Hi, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome. All right, let me get myself set up here. Welcome to Vent and Reinvent a Parent Webinar. It is great to be here with all of you tonight. I pulled out the fun scarf that I have in my drawer that I never find an opportunity to wear, and I thought, this is perfect. So there it is. My mom got that for me, I think from Italy. Welcome, everyone. Let's just review a little bit of the technology. So throughout the webinar tonight, if you want to send in a question for me to answer, I'm going to ask you to click on the Q&A, not go to the chat. I might not see it in the chat right away. If you go to the Q&A, you can ask a question through the Q&A, and I'm going to ask that you put your kids' ages right at the start of the Q&A. So you can just write, 10, 16, for example. This way, I know I can get to some questions from different age groups, which I want to make sure I do. Now I want to bring your attention to the chat, which is a different box there. If you click on chat, I want just to sort of test it out. So if everyone could just kind of say hi, and maybe if you want to say like where you're from, where you're viewing from, what town. Some of you are out of state, out of New Jersey. I know I saw the enrollments. So just go ahead and say hi in the chat window. And I can do it too. There we go. Awesome. Nice. And they're all coming in. Hi from Wayne Pequanic from Virginia, from Danville, New Jersey, Caldwell, awesome, Mine Hill, Verona, Clifton, Chatham, there they go. Tawako, love your scarf, thanks. It's for you. Awesome, Austin, Texas. So tonight, feel free to use the chat if you want to send a shout out or share a thought or idea. If you want to ask a question, click on the Q&A. And that's how I'll know you're asking a question. So I like to start with a poll. I want to just see who's out there. So you should see a poll up on your screen. Just go ahead and click. It's multiple choice. You could choose multiple answers depending on how the age of your kids. I just want to see how old your kids are so I can get a sense of our audience tonight. So go ahead and do that. Awesome. Nice, great, lots of votes coming in. Hi from South Orange, Pompton Plains, terrific, excellent, nice. I'll give you guys another minute. I see some questions that are already starting to come in, terrific, awesome, great. Okay, so most of you got to the poll, there we go. All right, so as always, most of you have middle schoolers and high schoolers, but there are plenty of you that have toddlers and elementary age. Which is great. Sorry, there are the results. You should see the results now. So we're going to address parenting all different ages. And tonight's topic is guilt-free parenting. I had talked to some parents after last week's webinar about, what continues to challenge them and what they think about. And I heard this theme about feeling guilty. So let me ask all of you, what are your thoughts about what guilt-free parenting means? If you want to just pop a sentence into the chat, that would be great. I was talking to my husband about it. What does guilt-free parenting mean? And he was saying from his perspective as a dad, guilt-free parenting means being able, even during this time, to be firm and implement consequences without feeling guilty about it, because we know it's the right thing. I mean, that comes up first no matter whether it's COVID quarantine or not. And then, like the other thing that I heard from some other parents, guilt-free parenting would be to not put so much pressure on ourselves to have this high standard of parenting, especially right now, So someone sharing, giving my all to both kids and being present when we're together. So being able to do that would release some of the guilt, right? And someone else sharing, it is what it is, right? Knowing we're doing our best and that's what matters. And I love that, right? So there's this mental state we have to get to. And the last thing you all need right now is to feel guilty, right? We're all dealing with a ton of pressures, whether you're working from home or you're out of work, you're homeschooling and parenting. You're not able to use the same resources to support your parenting through help from maybe your parents or childcare or schools, preschools, We also don't have the help of distractions from play dates or, going to the zoo or sports or all these things. So it is challenging. You do not need to feel guilt on top of all the stress and pressure you have. And what I'm going to do by the end of the webinar tonight is I'm going to give you my formula for increasing self-acceptance and self-control so that we can rid ourselves of guilt right now and have this guilt-free parenting, because that's really important to me, that you leave here having a concrete idea of what you need to do to feel better and to experience this guilt-free parenting. So what I did, what I've been doing is I've been doing interviews throughout the weeks, and then I'm showing you video clips. So for the past 2 webinars, it's been with kids and teens. This week, I interviewed some parents. And so I have 3 different parents who are parenting kids of different ages. And I'm going to share with you some of their thoughts about what's been challenging them, what's been making them feel guilty, and maybe some of the things that they've been doing to help. And then, of course, I'll add my ideas, my advice, my professional feedback to that. But I thought that would be a really helpful way to engage you in the conversation and give you some ideas for how to be your best self, to feel your best, and to parent your best without the guilt. That's the whole point here. Okay, I'm going to pull up a video for you. So give me a second as I manage the technology. And I do believe I need to, what I learned last time is I'm going to pull up the video first, get it going, and then I'll be able to share the screen with you. So I'm just pulling up the video and getting it set to the spot. We're going to hear from Allie, and let's do our share screen now. Let me see, guys. Why don't I see it coming up? Give me a second with the technology because I really want this to work for you. Allie, here's Allie. And let me stop the share. And let me start the share again. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see that. That was our problem last time. Let's see. You guys can see this. Now tell me, I'm going to go back to the chat for a second. Can you guys tell me in the chat, where's my chat? Tell me in the chat, guys, if you can, did you see the screen that had me and Allie on it, or were you not seeing? You can see the folder, exactly. All right, let me try again launching the video. I think maybe if it's not full screen, that was the issue. Sorry, guys, I was playing around today to try to get this perfect for you, but sometimes the technology is just not perfect. So just give me a second because I really want you to see the video. I have the video up here. There we go. Okay, I think the key. Okay, so now you can see, I know you can see it because I see the green bar all around it, me and Allie. And let me just get to the spot here. I asked Allie, so Allie has an elementary age daughter. I asked her what's been, one of the most challenging parts of parenting right now.
I feel that my patience has been on a short rope, and I feel like I have a lot of patience in my everyday life. Like when pre-COVID, I had a lot of patience as a teacher and as a parent. And I feel like my patience is on a short rope because I feel like I'm more under pressure, and I think I'm struggling with my own mental issues on a daily basis and trying to keep myself together. So trying to help my daughter be happy and be successful in like her everyday schoolwork. And then trying to also do like fun things and creative things that I didn't have to do before, or not that I didn't have to, but like more so because we're in a closed space with not many options.
Okay, and so I'm just going to end that there for now. So I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that, and thanks for letting me know you could see it. this pressure of having to do it all. And I love that Allie was just so honest with her, that she's saying, like, I'm dealing with my own mental struggles every day, right? There's pressure from work and from all those things I described earlier that we're all experiencing. And so I hope that hearing her share that validates for you that there are many parents that are experiencing, stress to the point of their own mental health challenges, and that we need to be understanding and gentle with ourselves and to not go to that place of guilt. I asked Allie, when does she feel that guilt? In what situations does she feel that guilt? So I'm going to share her response to that question. And I think you'll be able to relate to this as well.
To balance then my own mental state and then hers, and then on top of it, then I'm being asked to be this kind of mom that I really haven't been, and maybe no one's asking. That's my own guilt of, like, I have to do this, like I have to be the playful mom and keep her occupied, and I am really struggling with that. Yeah.
Okay. And Allie shared about that for her, it doesn't always come so easy to be the playful mom, right, in those moments. And that her daughter was, getting entertained and engaged by so many after school activities and by family members and friends and neighbors, and that's a real loss for her. Like, we want that village to take care of our kids with us, and we don't have that right now. As I'm sharing with you some of these videos, please feel free to pop your questions into the Q&A window. Again, just let me know your kids' ages. And so one of the parents did send in a question about a 6th grade daughter. They also have 15 and 18-year-old kids at home. Daughter won't leave her bed or change out of the PJs. How do I get her out? How do I get her out of her room? So, I think first the question is, what do you think that's about? Have you taken the time before you're saying, like, get dressed? Have you taken the time to sit down with her and just say, like, hey, like, tell me about the PJs. What's up with the PJs? And give her the space to explain herself. Maybe for her, the PJs feel really comfy and secure, and she needs that feeling right now. And that's what's making her get through the day, is just to be able to stay cozy. If I'm at home, I want to stay cozy, right? Or maybe it's like, I just don't care about how I look and I don't have the motivation because I'm not going to school. And if you think that in return is making her feel bad about herself or sad or depressed, then you need to say to her, like, my concern is that when you stay in your PJs, I notice that you seem a little, like, low energy and not your fun self. What do you think, right? I always talk to parents about when you engage your kids and teens in a dialogue about your concerns, that you ask them what they think. You want to get them sharing and feeling heard. So what does she think about the PJs? Maybe she agrees. And maybe you can say, like, hey, like, what do you think about tomorrow? What would make it fun? You want to, like, have a theme day, like, hey, today was, like, May the 4th be with you. And, like, I got my kids to put on the Star Wars shirts because we like Star Wars. So I did that. But maybe there's a theme day, maybe there's a wacky hair day, maybe her and all her friends could do a theme day and suggest it and see if there's some excitement around that. So those are some ideas and thoughts, and I hope that helps. I want to share one more piece of the conversation with Allie. I asked her what she's doing to take care of herself. All the parents that I interviewed, all were dealing with struggles and challenges, but all also were engaging in some self-care and coping, and that's really important. And so I loved, what they had to say, which is why I'm sharing it with you. I want to share with you some of the things that Allie is doing to take care of herself and cope a little bit with all the stress and struggle.
Cope with this. I'm starting to actually journal for the first time in a long while. It's something that I give advice to others, but just with my own mental struggles that I feel like are coming on more fierce than ever. I have started to write down my thoughts. I take a bath every single day, maybe multiple times a day. It's the one time I know I have to myself, like no one is going to interrupt me. and I am able to like go through all of my thoughts in a relaxing kind of atmosphere, and I add some Epsom salt.
I love it. So great. So the journaling, I'm curious to see, actually, I'm going to pop up a poll. Do I have a yes, no poll? Let me see if I have a yes, no poll, because that's pretty easy. Let's see here, because I'm curious to know here's my yes, no poll. How many of you have done journaling in your life? How many of you have done journaling in your life in the past or currently? And let me just tell you from a neuroscience and therapeutic perspective why journaling can be so helpful at any time in your life to support positive mental health and well-being, but especially now when we're kind of, really secluded. So this is super cool to see. I'll share the results with you. Like, a lot of you have done journaling, and that's wonderful. If you haven't been doing it now, I highly recommend getting back into it, like Ali said she did. If you've never done it before, now's a great time to try it. And it could literally be just a couple of sentences. So what happens when you take your thoughts and put them on paper and you put them into language that you can see, it actually awakens the prefrontal cortex, a different part of your logical mind. And it can be helpful for that logical mind to kind of assess and observe what the thoughts are, which could be fueled by the emotional brain, right? So sometimes we put down the thoughts we're thinking and we recognize, like, that's kind of illogical, or that's really intense, and I actually don't want to feel that way. Or maybe as you're writing, you ignite the solution, or you remember advice that someone gave you. So I highly recommend trying it, even if it's just a couple of sentences. And the idea behind journaling is that you just start writing your thoughts down. You don't like choose them, or it's not about creative writing a story. It's just whatever the thoughts are, just start writing them down and seeing what that process might do for you. So I love that, and I really wanted to share that. So I'm going to go to another question in a minute after we come to the next video. I'm going to bring up an interview now with a parent of teenagers who are 13 and 15, 13-year-old boy, 15-year-old girl. And this is a dad that I interviewed. And so let me just get this interview up here. And I'm going to then share with you guys. Okay, so this is John, and John's a dad of 13 and 15-year-olds. I asked him a little bit about what he felt were the main challenges right now of parenting during the quarantine. And let's hear what he has to say.
It's the isolation on top of the isolation. The fact that I feel isolated, but my kids do as well. And as a parent, you're always like, oh, if I could take your cold, I would rather be sick. Like, I don't want you to deal. So like knowing that we're missing our friends, they're missing their friends, they're out of their network. And so knowing that they kind of do not have that is, as a parent, upsetting, especially when they get moody or they get cranky and they know they want that outlet and they don't have it. And then, other things kick up. So,
right.
Yeah. And that's huge. And I think that pain we're all feeling, that we're feeling that, like, John said, the isolation upon the isolation, or like the grieving upon the grieving for our kids, like to know that they don't have the social connection that we know brings them joy, and it's an amazing outlet. We know it's a natural desire they have to be with peers, and that they don't have that right now. It creates that sadness for us. And I was actually talking about the stages of grief with teenagers last week. And we've all been experiencing grief and loss. It's not just about, I hope that no one's grieving the loss of a life in their family or friends, but we can also be grieving the lost experiences. And so, like, are you feeling that denial at first, and then maybe that sadness or that anger, and then the sadness or depression, and then we do this bargaining thing in our mind of trying to understand it, and then hopefully we come to that place of acceptance. And by the way, like, the stages of grief are not linear. They like are spiraling. You could like accept one day and then be in denial the next day, and it's just, it's a construct to kind of understand the human psyche, which is hard to understand, but just to have a little bit of a sense that you can identify that it's healthy to be going through those different stages. And so if anyone has teenagers and you have questions about helping them right now, pop those into the Q&A. We're going to listen to John talk a little bit about what I thought was one of the key things he said, which echoes the messages from the webinar last week around like, what do you need to do as a parent in some of these challenging situations? So let's see what he has to say here. School, like, and all that at home.
Just, even more importantly now, the more never staying calm, because we're all in the same house together all day long. So like, we lose it and it just gets things, even more, tenuous. So trying to, and it's not always easy, but where I think we've done a good job, but it's certainly been challenging, and sometimes it doesn't work, or sometimes you don't succeed in doing so, is just really doing your best not to escalate the situation, either ignoring or just trying to stay calm, because, we can't, not to the extent you could before. You can't just go out and take a run, or it's not like she's just going to go to school and you won't see her for 8 hours or whatever the case may be. Like we're here all.
Exactly. We've all been like, school, go, I need a break, right? So we don't have that. And so I think what John is talking about is the key for all of us. And we talked about in the past 2 weeks, we have to do our best to stay calm. We're not going to do it all the time. We're not going to be perfect at that, but having that intention to stay calm. And I have it come up almost every day in my household. This morning with my middle schooler, he realized he forgot an assignment last week. We're trying the whiteboard and he's writing everything down, and I'm reminding him, but also stepping back, and he just forgot about something and he felt stressed about it. And as he felt stressed about that, he got an email from a teacher who wanted to, ask him to engage in a conversation about something, and he wasn't sure he wanted to. So there was stress and he was starting to have that meltdown. And I just stayed calm. And my husband before said, like, yeah, you stayed calm. I mean, I was really trying, and I did. And I waited till he calmed down, and we revisited it later, which was successful. Let me get to a question. I don't even know where to start. What do I say about this whole pandemic to my 18 and 16-year-old? What do I say about the whole pandemic? So the question is not so specific. If you have a more specific question, let me know. But what I will say is that I think the best thing to say to kids and teens, and say it in an age-appropriate way, is to just say the truth that you're experiencing, right? Be honest, like, this is hard, this is weird, this is unusual, I don't like it. Maybe there's certain parts I like about it. I like that we're having dinner together more often, or I like that I don't have to commute to work, I'm saving time, or, I like that we Zoomed with grandma and grandpa more than we usually do, or whatever it is. But there's a lot I don't like. So be honest with them about the fact that we really hope that the best minds in our country and in the world are going to find medicine and a vaccine as soon as possible, but we're waiting. So be honest with them. This is so hard to not be with your friends. Tell me how hard it is. Let them vent, let them cry. Hopefully they'll express it. And then, what can we do? What feels good? Does FaceTime feel good? Does a Zoom party feel good? Does Netflix party feel good where you can watch shows together at the same time? What feels good? Do you want to drive to the front of their house and they're at their door and we're in the car 20 feet away, and you just talk and say hi for 5 or 10 minutes and that feels safe to you? Like, come up with ideas with them that can help them, but be honest. For the younger ones, they don't need to hear that much unless they're coming to you with questions, but just show them that you're, doing your best to manage yourself and your own stress, and that you're doing your best to stay as happy as you can right now. And I think that that's really important, and that's really the key. I want to share with you one other interview with another parent, a parent of a toddler and an elementary aged child. So let me get here to share the screen with you. This is Andrea, and let's talk with her about what is challenging for her right now as a parent of younger children.
Okay. So I would say the hardest part is having a toddler, because toddlers require so much attention and have so much energy, and just being confined and not being able to go to the park and go to preschool, or just like have help entertaining and being with a toddler nonstop it's a lot.
It sure is. So, when I talked to Andrea, I said, parents with toddlers are going to so relate to that and feel validated and heard. And parents without toddlers are going to be like, whew, I'm glad I don't have a toddler, right? I mean, so we laughed about it, of course, but it is challenging. I think every age has its own unique challenges, whether it's the COVID pandemic or not. And this certainly, we certainly are experiencing this. I asked Andrea about when does she feel guilt? When is she feeling that guilt feeling? And I think we're going to relate, whatever age our kid is, we are going to all relate to this. Does that come up?
Yes. So I have a 7-year-old, and I would say I feel the biggest guilt in parenting him right now, because he's the type of kid that can sit in front of a TV for hours and hours and hours and hours. Not all kids can, and it comes in a little too handy. And so we have a toddler who's almost 3 and a 7-year-old. So while the 7-year-old can sit in front of a TV for hours and hours and hours, I start to feel horribly guilty that I'm letting him sit in front of a TV for that long, because he's also the type of kid when engaged, he is so engaged. Mm-hmm. I don't want to go to the zoo. I don't want to go to the zoo. We're going to the zoo. We get to the zoo. He's like the tour guide. And so that's his personality. And so I know he has it in him to be sparked and alive and interested. But yet it's so easy for him to sit at the TV because we have a toddler. And I feel guilty, like he's just sitting up there, and I give him breaks, but now he's kind of addicted and he wants to just go back. Even when we're on a break, he's like looking at me like, can I go back? And,
right.
So I have to, of course, thank Andrea so much for being vulnerable and open so that we can all learn how to do that, first of all, because how healing is that to be able to express that. I hope you all have someone to express your feelings and thoughts to in that way, and how validating for all of us, because we feel that guilt. Our kids are in front of the screens more than usual, which is understandable. And by the way, for those of you who know me, the impact of technology and social media and screen time on children and teens and their developing brains, that's one of my passions and one of the topics that I do a ton of educational presentations on at schools. Next week for this webinar, that's going to be the topic, is going to be screen time and how we deal with it and how do we find the balance. So thanks, to Andrea for sharing that with us, so we can, relate and also feel validated, like we're all doing it. It's okay. And that's super important that you understand that. So I do have a question coming in about a teen, and I'd like to take that. Grandparents raising grandchildren. Wonderful. I'm glad you're here. I'm really glad you're here. Okay, so we have ADHD, and I've gotten a lot of questions about kids with ADHD, or other challenges that make homeschooling even harder. After being so stressed, I decided to just focus on the kids and the extra nurturing they seem to need, but what about what can I do for me? And I can't emphasize how important it is. It's like when you're on the plane, if the oxygen masks fall, please put it on yourself first before you put it on your child. And the instinct that most parents have is we're not going to do that. We're going to make sure our kid's safe, right? But if we don't take in our own oxygen and take care of ourselves, you're going to have nothing left for them, or it's going to come, from a place of irritability. So you have to take care of yourself as well. So for those of you that have been doing some successful self-care, can you chat it in the window? What are you doing? Is it walking, yoga, exercise? Does anyone have an idea for just, 10, 20 minutes, something short? I think that's really important. I will share with you, because actually my next question to Andrea was, what is she doing to cope and to take care? And she had some fun things to share that I will share with you. as well as I get here about some of her self-care.
So I take some baths a couple of times a week.
Isn't that funny? Baths came up again. Love it. Take a bath.
And that feels really indulgent. And one time I actually ate an ice cream cone in the bath.
I love you.
But I go on long walks on the weekends with a friend, and I try and cry when I need to, and eat healthy when I can, meditate, I try and do things as consistently as possible.
And we know that it's hard to fit those things in. So baths seem to be quite popular. Long walks, I've heard a lot of. I walk every day, I call a friend, taking walks, exercise and meditation. These are the things that are in the chat. You have to carve out the time, and I highly recommend it, that before you go to bed at night, that you make a plan for the next day and you write it down. When am I taking care of myself? Is it 6:30 in the morning when you first wake up? If maybe the kids are sleeping in a little later. Is it a break right in the middle of the day where, you go for your walk? Put your phone down, don't answer questions, don't plan a meal, just go for a walk, listen to good music, listen to a podcast, something like that. It's really important to take care of yourself. Call a friend, vent things out if you need to. And of course, if it's beyond, just venting and you feel your own mental health really deteriorating, then of course reach out, for professional help from a mental health professional, a therapist. Most therapists like myself and my colleagues at Wellbeing Therapy Center, we're all doing sessions online like this. I think it's actually really effective. You see the person's face, you can share, you can get feedback. And I think that's really important. Okay, wonderful. So let me see if there's another question I can answer. Okay, so this is from some young kid, a parent of young kids. My kids now believe school is fully optional. How can I remotivate them and also explain that attending school is not a choice? So, wow, they're young, they're 5, twins. So my feeling with kids that age is that, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, if the online school is very challenging for them to engage with, we cannot blame them. I mean, they're 5 or they're 6. They're supposed to be in a circle on the floor with kids playing. They're supposed to be learning through touching and doing and having interactions with peers, learning about sharing or learning about their emotions. It is very challenging for them to be engaged on Zoom or online. If your kids are struggling with that, I would have a conversation on the phone with the teacher and say, I need some alternative hands-on activities that I can do with them that you will count and accept as the day's work. Get them outside and have them running around. There are great creative ideas online. If you go to Wide Open School is a program from Common Sense Media, Wide Open School, and they have a ton of great ideas and activities for engaging kids with, interactive online learning. So I highly recommend that you match the learning to your child right now. This is actually the best time for us to do that. We can kind of take them out of the confines of our traditional schooling system and say like, hey, what do you want to do? We want to learn math. Like, let's go count the rocks and do math with rocks, or we want to look at the birds and use nature and use art and, meet them where they're at. Take the pressure off yourself, get the teachers on the phone. And if you have to, the principal, of course, they're really supportive from what I've heard. They should be. And I hope that is really helpful. And so, yes. Okay. One more question coming in about what about guilt around denying social access due to the current regulations when invincible teens feel such a loss from not having these opportunities? I understand, I know. And I think telling them like, I want more than anything for you to be with your friends right now. I want more than anything for you to be with your friends. But I also have to prioritize your health and safety and the health and safety of our family. And so we have to right now do other things to try to satisfy that desire. And I mentioned a little earlier some ideas. Drive with them, to sit outside of their friend's house 20 feet apart, but have them talk. They just want to feel their, the energy and see if that helps to get creative. I've heard some parents tell me like their friends will get together at someone's house outside and stick their heads out of the sunroofs and stay 10 or 20 feet apart, but just to chat or joke or even text while they're there like that, just to change it up and give them a sense of excitement and adventure. You have to get creative and create adventure, excitement in any way you can. Ask other parents of teenagers, of your friends, what they're doing, or if they can come up with ideas together. But we have to be honest with our kids and explain to them that we're doing this for them. Okay, we have a few minutes left, and here is my wrap up for you guys. Okay, I want to give you a formula that I came up with to free ourselves from the guilt of this parenting, the stress that we've created for ourselves, so we can have guilt-free parenting. And it is 2 parts. The formula is self-acceptance and then self-control. Self-acceptance and then self-control, okay? The self-acceptance part is looking in the mirror and saying to yourself something like, I am doing the best I can in every moment. And that is true. In every moment, you're doing the best you can in that moment. If you could do better, you would do better. You might wish you had done better afterwards, but in that moment, you did the best you can. So you look yourself in the face, in the mirror, and you tell yourself, I am doing the best I can in every moment, okay? Give myself a little break here. I am doing the best I can in every moment, and I accept myself exactly the way I am right now. I accept myself exactly the way I am right now, and I accept myself exactly the way I am right now. That's the self-acceptance. We have to start there. If you don't, there's all this tension and the guilt. The guilt blocks you from, freedom, from joy and love and all that, okay? So that's a self-acceptance. Do that every day, every morning. Every time you go in the bathroom, look yourself in the mirror. I'm doing the best I can in every moment, and I accept myself exactly the way I am right now. Now comes the self-control, okay? You need to make an intention to stay calm. Make an intention to do something new that you've heard here or from a friend or something you've learned. Make an intention to sit down and say to your kid or teen, just tell me how you're feeling. Remember those PJs earlier? What is up with the PJs? Why are you wearing them? Like, let's find out what's going on, right? Maybe that's your intention, is I'm going to sit down and ask my kids more about how they're feeling and what they're thinking. I'm going to take that time. Yes, I have to make dinner and I have to get to work and I have to do all these things and sit at my computer and I'm tired and I still have to shower and take the garbage out. But I'm going to prioritize making time to sit and talk to my kids and ask them, how are you feeling, right? And stay calm. So self-acceptance and self-control is the formula to the guilt-free parenting. So write that down. I want you to write that down when we're done. Write that down right now. And I want you to try it. This is all about trying new things to get through this challenging time. I believe that those of us that are on this journey of trying to improve are going to evolve. We're going to evolve as people. We're going to be better. We're going to be more conscious. We're going to be more self-aware. We're going to become the better versions of ourselves. And if that's your intention, then that's a beautiful thing. I know that's my intention. All right. I said that. I'm looking at my notes. We did good, everyone. I'm so glad you were here. Let me share my little, we'll be back. Awesome. Okay. We'll be back next Monday. Next Monday is the 4th and final webinar of this series. We'll be back next Monday at 7:30 Eastern. You can use the same link you've been using to log in. You don't have to register again. If you have friends or family members that you think would enjoy and benefit, send them over to www.ventandreinvent.com and they could register there. If you do have teenagers 13 to 17, we're doing free teen gatherings every day at 7 o'clock. They're short, 20-ish minutes. They come on and ask their questions anonymously. It's a webinar series like this. No one can see them, but I do bring up teen mentors with me live with their audio and video, and they give feedback to the teenagers. It's so beautiful and amazing. I'm really loving it. On the other side of the screen here, I'm sharing some of the services that we have at Wellbeing Therapy Center right now. We have a lot of online groups for kids and teenagers and even for young adults. And of course, support for parents. If you've never worked with us and you want a free 15-minute consultation, we're happy to do that so that we can introduce ourselves. And let me get back here so I can see you guys. Thank you so much for being here. It is recorded if someone missed it or if you missed the beginning. By tomorrow afternoon or so, I will post the link on our website. Go to wellbeingtherapycenter.com and then click on our services and free parent webinars. It's there. You will find it. I wish you, all the best in your quest for guilt-free parenting. You could do it. We can do it. We got this. Stay strong, everyone. Bye. Thanks for being here. And I will see you next week. Same time, 7:30. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.